The happiest ladies.
Happy Sunday!
How many miles you run?
6 miles!
And it's like 35 degrees.
We're crazy.
You ever have a really, really bad day? I mean, like a really bad day, like everything sucks kind of bad day. So this is about having a bad day. In fact, you could say that it's about having a good day, because part of this is that in life we're gonna have bad days. We're gonna have days where everything goes to hell and we have tragedies, and life almost guarantees those things. But in order for me to have good days, I need to learn the skills to maintain good days from having bad days. Let me rephrase that. If it weren't for having bad days, I wouldn't learn the skill set to have a good day. I would always be dependent by something outside of myself that would happen to me to have a good day. And man, who are we if we're somebody that allows life to happen to us instead of being able to make life good? So yeah, this is what we're doing. We're having a good day while hiking with this guy, and he's going swimming. You going swimming? Wah! Let's just start the podcast. All right, let's go. Hey guys, my name is Steve Mayeda, and I'm a men's coach in Austin, Texas. I'm a BJJ practitioner, a Wim Hof enthusiast. I have an amazing family, 4 awesome boys and a beautiful wife. And what this podcast is about being the better man. What we talk about is tried and true because we've been doing it with groups of men just like you for over 12 years. Listen up, and I hope you enjoy. So, I am back at home, and that is a good thing. Just got back from Dallas, and hey, there's a few lessons I learned from all of that. It's currently 2 p.m. and there's a whole bunch of stuff I got to do today. Number one, I got to meet a client in about an hour and 15 minutes. And also I have to record some content for our TSL Life program. And I wanted to get this out of the way because it's important. So in Dallas, what happened was I got some really bad news, some news that is going to affect my family in a big way. So I wanted to talk about some of the ways where that news was processed, because what we can guarantee in our life, and this is so important for you to understand as a man and to be your best self, is you're going to meet resistance. You're going to meet tragedy. You're going to meet things that are going to get in your way. They're going to mess up your life. You know, and at any point in your life, you have an excuse of why you don't have to be your best self, of why you got screwed. You're going to get screwed. You're going to achieve tragedy. People are going to f you over, and your stories of how bad it is going to be are going to be worthy of a movie, stranger than fiction even, and all that sort of stuff. I don't give a shit. Now, for better or for worse, I've had my fair share of that, but also for better or for worse, I'm stupid and just living a life of making a lot of bad decisions, you know, having a lot of things with addiction and so on. You create much more of a tragedy-based lifestyle, and part of the road to recovery is learning how to deal with those things. So I want to talk to you about what I did. So number one, let's get to the situation. I found out I was going to make about 1/3 of the money that I'd been used to making for about the past year and a half. That's a huge ding. Okay, that is terrible. That was a bad call that I got, and there wasn't really anything I could do about it or whatever. And that sucks, okay? And I was really depending on that. And in that, I did an excellent job and all this sort of stuff. It's just they couldn't pay me the money. That changes everything. That changes my family, my life, my well-being, the future of my family, car payments, house payments, all this sort of stuff. Different things that were consistent. And all of a sudden, this money is stopping. So if you can imagine that, like if you basically talk to your boss and you talked about your income, this isn't the only stream of income. I found out that, you know, you were getting a 65% cut of your pay. In fact, it's really like a 63% cut of your pay. That's a huge amount. That's massive. That is crazy. And this starts immediately, which is even more crazy. So what happens? So number two, you get bad news, and what do you do with it? Well, a lot of things you can do. You can be angry, you can be pissed, all these things that I was. You can sulk, you could panic, you can do all these different things. But to me, I got to make the best decision with what I got. Now, first off, I've had way worse tragedies than this, and this isn't even a tragedy. I shouldn't call it that, but I've had way worse situations than this. What do I need to do from those situations? And I've had a lot, unfortunately, and usually they're my own making. What did I need to do that? I needed to get into my best self before I make any decisions, before I talk to my wife about it, before I react, before any of these things. I need to get into my best self. So what did I do? Well, I went for a run. It was early in the morning. I needed to wake up. I needed to move my body. I needed to use my body. I needed to get in a space where I could do those things. The other thing that I knew I needed to do is I needed to call people. I knew I needed to talk to people, and I knew I needed to get a perspective. Why? Because when I call and talk to people, I tend to vomit out all that stuff that I'm thinking, the anger, the rage, and so on. And if I don't live in a feedback loop like we talk about a lot here, is that when you get into kind of like a lot of these online groups, it gets to like echo chambery. It's like, you should be mad and fuck this and fuck. I'm not talking about that. I knew I needed to talk to good men. Now, thankfully, I have a lot of those people around. So let me tell you a story about what happened. So number one, it's like 35 degrees in Dallas at the time. I'm not at home. I take off, I go for a run. It turned out to be a 10-mile run, which was insane. And I have not done that for at least 10 years. And my body was not used to that, but it was great. So I start moving and I feel much better. It's cold. I do all the Wim Hof stuff. And in fact, I haven't been that steadfast on it. And just being in the cold and that sort of shock was something which really helped me out. Your body starts releasing hormones, whatever. Anyway, all that sort of stuff. And it feels good. It's great. You know, it's like one of those things where my brain starts to feel better. And I'm like, oh, well, it is what it is. The situation is, okay, well, this is what we'll have to do. This is what we did before when we weren't making that money, blah, 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 blah. And it starts to have a solution. I am no longer in panic. I am no longer in this mode where things seem impossible. Hold that thought. All right, we'll do this. I was feeling I was a little bit underexposed there, so hopefully this is better. In any case, the thing is that it made me feel great. So then I started to do what I always do. In fact, I didn't even wait for this. As I'm running by people, I made it. It's just a 2-mile run to this area called White Rock Lake, which has this huge loop, which I did not go all the way around. And I just started saying hi to people. There's tons of people. There are people with cameras. I decided to bring my camera during all of this, thankfully. And I started saying hi, and it's amazing how many people do not say hi back. But to be social, to broadcast, that is very important. And this is another thing that just the previous day we were talking about on our TSL call. What is the meaning of being social? Being social has so many benefits, and it's the crux of a lot of what I do. But one of the things about that is that it doesn't matter about your result. The result, obviously, okay, in the long run does matter, but it matters about what you're projecting out. All you can be responsible for in the world is what you're projecting out. You can't control what people give you. You can influence in it a big way, but then you have to be the one who's possible or able to take that feedback. So I started saying hi to people, and not a lot of people were saying hi back, which is always a bummer, but you put it out there, those sorts of things. I decided to, shoot a couple things about the experience. It helps me process it. I have yet to talk to anybody about it. But as I was running, and I get to about 4 miles, and I didn't realize it was 4 miles yet. Another story, but my app thing failed that records this. Anyway, whatever. Somebody sees me with the camera, and they start going, yeah. And I was like, holy shit, man, this is kind of cool. And then another person runs by, and they're kind of wearing the same thing. They're like, yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. I realized then it's been 4 miles, and I got to run back that 4 miles. And like I said, I'm usually like a 3, maybe 5 mile kind of guy. So I take a break, I turn around, I do all that sort of stuff. And on my way back, about a mile back, I get to a parking lot, which I'd passed before, where these 5 ladies are standing. And they're like, hey, come here. It was the funniest thing, because they're basically like, hey, what are you shooting? What's going on? Where can we see it? We're really into that stuff. Like 2 of the ladies say they're photographers as well. And I'm like, oh, cool. What kind of camera do you have? And blah, blah, blah. We talked a little bit about that. And I said, hey, I'm going to turn the camera on and, just say something like, hey, and they were real nice and all this sort of stuff. Afterwards, they were like, hey, give me your contact information. I want to be able to see this. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. You seem like great. This made my day. This was freaking awesome. In the midst of all of that, this is what's crazy. We had a call. a TSL life call, which is our life coaching courses, this one in particular on purpose and ambition. And so I get on the call with my guys and I'm like, man, the coolest thing just happened. I do the call, make the rest of the run back. And on that call, there were only 3 guys on that call. It was our morning call. Okay. And actually, it was usually more, but anyway, whatever. There were 3 guys on that call. And let me tell you what happens when you have a problem where you can't see straight, where you see no answer, where your family then goes like, shit, we can't get the car we wanted. We can't upgrade it in the way that we wanted. We can't go on that vacation. We can't do this and that we had planned because of my responsibility of making the money for my family is now compromised. It's fucked. It's screwed. And when I tell the guys that who live a good life, who are on the same path as mine in living a life of excellence and a dedication to that, of always living that, some good stuff happens. And it's basically like, where do we get to, Steve? Life is guaranteed to give you problems. Life is guaranteed to give you tragedies. Life is guaranteed to throw you curveballs. What's the answer? What do we live for? What's in the answer of the program that you came up with? What is in the philosophy of what we teach and how we teach? How do I get to my best self? How do I do that? And thankfully, I was already on that road with those 3 actions. 1, getting in my body. 2, being social and putting that out there, which helps. 3, surrounding myself with some guys who could give me some perspective. And I want to make this clear because none of this gets me the $50,000 that I'm going to be losing. None of that gets me that. And as you guys know, I've lost $50,000 in court cases and so on and paying lawyers and whatever. None of that repairs that. None of it replaces the discussion that I have to have with my wife. None of that replaces us telling the rest of my family that we can't meet them on our vacation. None of that replaces that. But what it does do is it gets me in a place where I can say, yes, I can believe in myself. And this is what is the problem with so much men's development. You want a quick fix, you want an answer, but if you do not have bad days and learn to make those bad days work, you have no skill. Life is happening to you. And I really want to make that clear to you. When you have life happen to you, you don't have freedom, you don't have choice, you don't have expression. You cannot know what it's like to be your best self. You gotta win because of circumstance, situation, and all the things outside of yourself that are tools to serve your expression, not because of your expression, not because of you. And you can never sit there as a man with 1, integrity, 1, knowledge of self, but to truly say, I am Steve Mayeda. What's up, life? What's up, you? What's up, and how can we work together? And that is the saddest part. See, I got the news. I'm out $50K immediately, starting immediately. That's a big deal. That is a huge deal. And what do I do with that? There's a lot of reasons why I could have a bad day from that. But in all honesty, God, man, thank you. Thank you, life, for giving me this. Because the one thing I know about myself is that if I don't give up, if I work hard, I may have bad days, I might have bad years, I might have a long period of time of stuff not going my way, but I only get better and my life only gets better. See, we as men have this thing where we want to be men. We want to be strong. We want to be tough. We want to be able to take anything. We want to be able to look life in the eye and be able to live it as best we can. But how often do we allow and accept and welcome the moments in life that are going to teach us how to do that when we have the good days, when we have the neutral days? You got to learn to have what you have. You got to learn to surround yourself with the right people, because if you're like me, when bad stuff happens, I do react. Man, life is bigger than me. It changes me. So what do? I have a network of guys that help me out. I have a protocol that I do, get in my body, be social, go out and talk to people that I can who have perspective. Then also, an extension of those things, be of service, get good sleep, get good diet, and basically create a life where I can be responsible for myself and I have the fighting chance to be the best possible me. In any case, guys, man, there's a lot of stuff to work on. There's a lot of stuff to do, whatever. I got some curveballs thrown my way, but it's only proven to make me better. And I know that. It's just, I can't see it right now. Thank you guys so much check out what's going on the board. There's a lot of stuff changing, especially for men's development excellence. That is really, really cool. And like I always tell people, like if you can't afford my stuff, don't worry about it. Do the free stuff and be involved in those ways. But there's some awesome stuff happening, and I would encourage you to look at it. Of course, make a wise decision about anything you do with me, because in that we have a huge network of guys. You can tag people on the Austin Men's Development Board, and if it's right for you, you'll find out, and if it's not right for you, you'll probably know right away. Like well, we made a video about that too. So hey, that wasn't so bad, right? We made it through that one. Another podcast in the books. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on this. Super, super cool. We record all this stuff while being a part of our groups or answering questions from the groups. And to be honest, what the groups do and say is much more powerful than what I say. And let me just tell you that if you're a guy looking to better yourself, that's what this channel is dedicated towards. If it's not doing that, let me know. Man, I'm pretty accessible. You can email me. You can comment on the YouTube. You can comment on the Facebook. You can do all that sort of stuff. But getting the know, getting the works, and man, being a great man is a good thing, but it's a hard thing. And man, I'm not always that. But that's why I have great guys around me to hold my feet to the fire with it, man. It's getting late. My son's about to star in his premiere play tonight. Whoa, like father, like son. Pretty stoked for that. So I got to get over to the theater and see him. I'll talk to you guys soon.